Sounds good. Thanks. Can you hear me, Becky?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, great. So thanks everybody for being here today. I really appreciate it. As Becky said, we're here to talk about a topic that's on a lot of people's minds in a broader sense of sustainability. I think that Central Michigan has a unique approach to this as a campus and as a student body and as a faculty. And that's what we want to share with you today. We have an office called Central Sustainability that I would characterize as really student-driven and organized, but university supported, which is a little bit different than university run, right, and operated. It provides a lot of opportunity for innovation and energy and excitement and engagement, through the students and their participation and really their leadership of this office. It had an interesting start as a partnership between the Office of Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Facilities Maintenance. So it's for those of you who aren't that familiar with academia, that's an interesting place for a student-driven organization to start. But because I think partly because of that unique environment and the quality and drive of the students that were involved, they've really made tremendous strides in just the few years that they've been in operation. More recently, it's made sense to have them find a house in an academic unit, to find a home in an academic unit. And that's why they're in the College of Science and Engineering. And more specifically now in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Liesch, who's going to talk a little bit about the context of that, and then turn it over to the real stars of the show, the students who are driving Central Sustainability. Matt?
Thank you, Dean, for the introduction. And one of the biggest joys that I have as a professor here at Central Michigan is the ability to work with students and to help them become student leaders, to help with the mentoring process, be able to see whether it's social systems, but also be able to see environmental systems. And then with something like Central Sustainability, help people to see both the connection between environmental systems and social systems holistically, to then provide problem solving opportunities. And so that's where the 6 student leaders in Central Sustainability this year, as we're looking to scale up Central Sustainability, I think the sky is the limit when you look 2 or 5 years from now. This is where there's a lot of high impact learning. I know high impact learning can be cliche. Some of the examples that Eric and Ava will give in this next hour will flesh some of that out. But there's a lot of student experiences that they're able to make a difference on campus and in the community in ways that people at other campuses don't necessarily get that opportunity. And just from what Dean Ford was saying with regard to how many other campuses these days, it wasn't as common 20 years ago, but these days, many other campuses have an office of sustainability with staff members who aren't students. But then one of the opportunities you have at CMU is this is through a student lens. What kinds of things can get done and make differences. And so with that, I also know that Central Sustainability is really integrating different forms of sustainability. We often think of environmental sustainability, but also economic sustainability, cultural sustainability, and seeing how those connections are there. And that's where it's not always solidly a natural science nor a social science, but rather thinking, and that's why you got students from a wide variety of majors, as Eric will probably point out. We've got majors that really span this university, because a lot of the big picture thinking and 21st century solutions are we're working on in teams from people from diverse intellectual backgrounds. But with that, I'd like to first introduce Eric Urbaniak, who is the co-founders of Central Sustainability, along with Teresa Homsey, who had graduated last spring. And there's something they've been really passionate about. And so when they came to me a year and a half ago, I was more than happy to help them amplify this vision. And I think this is a vision that can be amplified when we're having this coffee and conversation again in 2026 or the year 2030. I hope that I see a lot of potential for scaling this up. With that, Eric, you've got the floor.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for the introduction, Dr. Ford and Dr. Liesch. Can everyone hear me? Just like maybe a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. I see some thumbs up. So thank you so much. Yeah, so my name is Eric Urbaniak, and I'm a senior at CMU right now. I am studying biology as well as public and nonprofit administration. So I really care about the intersection of public administration and environmental systems and nature, and how can we integrate all of these things to make the world better. And so I'm really while I am first and foremost a student at CMU, the last 4 years I've been here, I've been defined by creating Central Sustainability, which is currently functioning as our Office of Sustainability. But before we get started, I also want to introduce my coworker who is also here, Ava Brewer. She will be monitoring the chat and then covering a couple slides at the end of this. So Ava, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Ava Brewer. I was hired to start working with Central Sustainability just this past fall. And I think one of my most notable accomplishments is I started up official Instagram and Facebook pages for Central Sustainability. So that's kind of my main focus since I am an integrative public relations major and event management minor. So a little bit of an outlier within the group there, not so environmentally focused in my area of study, but I am super passionate about sustainability. So that is how I fit into the group that way.
Thank you so much, Ava. And so if anyone has any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and Ava will be monitoring the chat, the entire conversation, and can send you all the resources you may need. We can also do questions at the end of this. I believe we're going to open it up for Q&A just after like a quick presentation here. And so if everyone is all set, I'm just going to switch over to my slides and we can get started. Well, I might just have to go off the cuff here because my system preferences on my computer is not enabling me to open my slides, but that is okay. So I've got lots to talk about and we do these presentations all the time. So that is no biggie. But so basically, when I was a freshman in the fall of 2019 at CMU, I was pursuing pre-pharmacy within the biology major, so like a biomedical pathway. And although I liked that setting for me and I enjoyed sort of chemistry, I always knew I enjoyed the environmental piece of it more, like environmental chemistry and biology and these sorts of things. And so one day I was sent a list of internships and faculty members who were seeking interns at CMU. And one of those was Dr. Rebecca Uzarski, who's the director of environmental health and safety at CMU. And so in response to this, she was seeking an intern for food waste recovery at CMU. And basically, I took this internship. And so I spent fall of 2019 and spring of 2020 up until the COVID-19 pandemic working with the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe on food waste reduction. And so we started a composting program at the Ondawad tribal elderly home. So it's basically a 35 resident tribal elderly home just a couple miles from here. And over the course of those 5 to 6 months, we were able to divert 6,000 pounds of food waste from the landfill, which was pretty awesome. That's an immense amount of GHG reductions. It's great for the university, great for the tribe. And because of that, we have ongoing partnerships with the tribe, which I'll talk about in a bit. But essentially, as a product of that, I was hired by the Office for Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at CMU to work on the ASHE STARS reports. And for those of you who don't know what that is, ASHE is the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education, and STARS is the Sustainability Tracking, Assessment, and Rating System. So basically, there are about just over 1,000 higher education institutions in the United States who participate in this sustainability tracking system. And just over 100 of those hold a gold rating, which is like the standard for sustainability in higher education. But when I started at CMU, we were currently at a silver rating based on our 2018 report. So for that spring 2020 into summer of 2020, I was working with Teresa Holmesian filling in these reports. And in that time, Teresa and I noticed that sustainability at CMU was almost like a broken puzzle. So we noticed facilities was doing a bit, especially with composting. Academics was doing a bit with a little bit of curriculum around sustainability. Administration was doing a tiny bit. And then things like the volunteer center and residence life were doing a tiny bit. But really, we had no cohesive structure to bring together and push forward our sustainability efforts. And so in response to that, beginning in about the summer of 2020, Teresa and I convinced the Office for Diversity and Facilities Management to continue employing us to keep building Central Sustainability, which now functions as our campus Office of Sustainability. So that summer, we at first we were trying to figure out, how do you do this? Like, how do you build a sustainability structure at a university? And to do that, first we had to figure out, like, one, what resources does an Office of Sustainability have? And then two, what resources does an office have in general? So this sounds kind of silly, but we like went to the food pantry and we went to the Office for like Student Financial Aid, and we just asked around like what bare bones resources should an office have? And in response to that, we realized we needed to develop a couple things. So we started with a sustainability website. So we worked with the Office for Diversity and University Communications to build that website, so students had a resource page. On top of that, we began a sustainability blog, a sustainability YouTube channel. And then for the rest of that summer, we just cranked out programming and resources. So we developed CMU's Sustainable Living Guide. We started authoring CMU's Sustainable Purchasing Policy, which was in fact signed into, I don't want to say law, but it is now policy at CMU as of October 2020, which also happened to align with Campus Sustainability Month. And then we figured out how to kind of organize collective efforts around campus. So as we transitioned into 2021, we were thinking about how do we bring together those broken puzzle pieces that I was mentioning? And so in response to that question, we started doing a lot of networking and a lot of meetings. So we met with our dining providers at the time, Aramark, which is now Chartwell's, and we have a phenomenal partnership with CMU Dining. We have ongoing partnerships with the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe. So like, in response to that, that project I had done, that internship my freshman year, Central Sustainability was able to continue those connections and create CMU's first ethnobotanical garden. So we have a garden on campus that's a Three Sisters garden. It's a very cultural sort of thing. We allowed tribal students from the Saginaw Chippewa Tribal College to design and plant that entire garden. And we really just facilitated the logistics around that, providing the space. And that partnership is still ongoing. In fact, next week for Earth Week, we're hosting a soup and substance event where all attendees for free can show up to this lunch and be provided with a free Three Sisters soup. And the recipe was provided by the Saginaw Chippewa Tribal College. So that's just like a really cool example of one of the ongoing partnerships we have because of Central Sustainability. So for those first like 2 years, 2020 into like 2021 and even 2022, Central Sustainability was really I would be afraid to call it an office at that point. It was more so like a platform or an initiative. We had like a tiny little space where we were working in the office in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies, where Teresa and I were like sitting back to back doing all these work on 2 desktops. And then eventually we were able to earn enough accolades and recognition and credibility, partnerships. We were able to scale up massively. And so now we are at the point where we have 6 student workers from academically diverse backgrounds. And that's something I am incredibly proud of. And so just to list a few examples, like Ava, who's here, is studying integrative public relations and recreation and event management. I'm studying biology and public and nonprofit administration. Our coworker Lauren is studying Spanish and political science. Spanish and environmental studies. Tiffany is studying environmental studies and political science. Claire is studying political science and environmental studies. And then Megan is environmental engineering. So we have this team that's representative of so many academic colleges around campus, which is super exciting because the theme of this is really that sustainability is interdisciplinary. We are an academically diverse team because sustainability is professionally relevant no matter what field you are in. So moving forward into all of our different careers, we are starting to notice as we're applying for internships and jobs out of every career field at CMU, we're seeing sustainability show up in every career field. Like if you're applying to a private company, sustainability, ESG goals are a recurring theme that we're starting to see in these job applications, and people who have knowledge of environmental social governance and the tools around that are more likely to get those positions. Same thing in the nonprofit sector, like ASHE, the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education, is a nonprofit. Or like, for instance, we work with the West Michigan Sustainable Business Forum or the National Wildlife Federation even. We're working with people at all different levels. In fact, an example of a nonprofit partnership that's turned out very well for us is that we've been working with the Corée de Bratza Foundation for about 2 to 3 years now. And for those of you who do not know, Corée de Bratza is the individual who designed the International Peace Flag. And so in partnership with them, we are raising the International Peace Flag right in front of Warner Hall, like on the flagpole next week, the day before Earth Day. That's a super cool partnership. Also, another product of that partnership, we have acquired a seed from a sapling that survived the bombing of Hiroshima in World War II. That's incredible. It is unheard of. So there's this nonprofit in San Francisco, California, who we've worked with along with the Corey de Brazza Foundation to secure this seed. And now we have been working with the city of Mount Pleasant, and that seed will be planted on Earth Day 2024 in Nelson Park. That's just about set in stone, as long as we can get that seed to germinate, which is somewhat difficult, but we're going to try and make it work. So that's probably my favorite project we're working on. Also, some other highlights. For the first time in a while, we are bringing back the farmers market to campus this fall. So for the first 7 Fridays of the fall 2023 semester, the Mount Pleasant Farmers Market will be on campus. It is in lot 33 right next to the music building. Students will actually be able to spend their flex dollars at the farmers market, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's like almost like a mini student bank account that you have to spend on campus at on-campus locations only. And so students will be able to spend those dollars at the Mount Pleasant Farmers Market on campus because of central sustainability. And really what I want to highlight is that all of these projects and partnerships aren't just solely focused on the environment, and that is because sustainability is about more than the environment. The definition which we have adapted for sustainability is that which the UN uses. It is sustainability is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the needs of the future. My favorite thing about that definition is that it does not use the term environment whatsoever. And although a lot of what we do is about the environment, it's about recycling and composting, energy, water, waste, transportation. It is so much more than that. We are thinking about cultural sustainability and social and economic sustainability, and really creating a more resilient campus led by students that is changing the community around us and hopefully the world. So we're doing things to reduce our like carbon emissions, for instance. Like since the time Central Sustainability was founded, CMU's waste diversion rate has increased by 6%. And although that doesn't sound like much, that is thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of trash that is diverted from landfills. And in those 3 years, there have been no operational changes at CMU that would have caused that 6% change other than Central Sustainability's education. That is huge for CMU. Also, in the time that Central Sustainability has been around for about 3 to 4 years now, we've taken about 200 students on sustainability walking tours around campus, where we highlight about 15 locations that demonstrate different types of sustainability. So for instance, like all of the food waste that is produced in our dining halls, about 16,000 pounds per week is taken up to Morgan's Composting in Sears, Michigan. Then CMU buys back that exact amount of pounds of compost produced from our own food waste and uses it as a supplemental fertilizer on the marching band field. That's one example of like a location on one of those tours where we take students just to do education around sustainability. So in reality, our mission statement is we are a platform dedicated to making the CMU community more sustainable through projects, policy, and programming. We focus on education, collaboration, and institutional growth to better our campus. And so that's super important because we are tackling sustainability from so many different perspectives. Like with this academically diverse team and all the partners we have, we are working on policy with CMU, like that sustainable purchasing policy. We are working on programming like the Campus Race to Zero Waste, or like the sustainability walking tours, or Earth Week, which Ava is going to share a little bit about. And we are also working on projects. We have so many ongoing projects. Like looking into next year, we're also looking at creating a bike benefits program with the city of Mount Pleasant. And so essentially this means if a student bikes downtown and starts going shopping downtown more than they do right now, you'll show them your helmet, it will have a little sticker on it, then you might get a discount at the coffee shop or something like that. Just these really cool programs to incentivize partnership and networking across our communities. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ava. So that's kind of the background of Central Sustainability and a couple current projects, but Ava is the leader of tomorrow. I am graduating. She will be here next year. And so she's going to talk about Earth Week and some of the stuff that she is working on right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. I'm gonna see if I can share my screen and show you guys this graphic. Might not be able to. Let's see. Let's see. One more time. Okay, let's see if this works. Can you all see this? Perfect. So this is a calendar of our upcoming Earth Week events. So Earth Week is one example of some amazing programming that Central Sustainability leads. And this calendar specifically shows the events that Central Sustainability is heading, although Central Sustainability is sponsoring, partnering with, collaborating on a lot of other events as well, working with registered student organizations and other organizations. So something that has been a really cool development this year is Instagram takeovers with the official CMU Instagram account. So we did one during Campus Sustainability Month. We did one during Campus versus Zero Waste. We're doing another one during Earth Week as well. And we on Wednesday are also hosting a waste audit in front of the UC. If you don't know, a waste audit is when we take a dumpster from around campus somewhere and we take everything out and we sort through what could have been recycled and what could have been composted, and then come up with this diversion rate of what percent could have been diverted from the landfill. So usually that comes out to be about 65% of what's in that dumpster that could have been diverted and removed from the landfill. And then also that same evening, we're doing a sustainability walking tour, as Eric already described. That soup and substance event is on Thursday. The peace flag raising is on Friday. And then we are hosting a big community cleanup competition on Earth Day, which is super exciting, where RSOs can sign up, they can compete, collect trash, and then the RSO teams that collect the most trash will get prizes. So beyond Earth Week, we also have some really exciting current projects going on. So our team member, Megan, was really spearheading this initiative to get composting started at Northwest Apartments. So we have that going on campus residents. Anyone can take their compost collected from their residence and take it to Northwest Apartments, drop off, and that compost is taken along with the dining hall food waste to Morgan Composting in Sears, Michigan, and then CMU ends up buying it back to use on campus. So it's a super cool opportunity for students living on campus to reduce their food waste, take it to get composted instead. Additionally, we're starting up campus gardening again. So our team members, Lauren and Tiffany, I believe, they are really working hard on this. And so Campus Grow used to be an RSO at CMU, but it has kind of diminished, I guess. So Central Sustainability is really working to get this RSO started back up. It's going to be kind of led by Central Sustainability, but it's really going to be this RSO over this summer that's going to get campus gardening started again on campus. We also have that farmers market project going on, as well as an initiative to give all incoming freshmen reusable shopping bags. So that's pretty exciting. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Those are some of our really exciting current projects going on. Even though the semester is wrapping up, we have a lot of exciting things going on. We still have Earth Week. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of my takeaways from working with Central Sustainability these past 9 months or so. Even though I'm not an environmental studies major or anything like that, I have learned so much from Central Sustainability, and it has really pushed me to want to pursue sustainability in my future endeavors. Looking into internships for next year, I'm looking at companies like Waste Management and Board of Water and Light. And I know that as a public relations major, I can bring something new to the table when it comes to sustainability. Even if I'm not working directly with sustainability efforts, I can promote sustainability. I can educate the public about what they can do to be more sustainable. I can work on that outreach and education part of it, and really try to change minds, persuade people to change habits. So I know that I can make a difference through public relations, and Central Sustainability has really given me an outlet to practice this and put it into practice, working with social media, working with video, photography, and educating our student body. So one of my favorite projects that I'm going on right now with our new contract, we are showing a video at all football, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, wrestling, and gymnastics events for next year. So I'm creating that video promoting sustainability to everyone who's able to attend those athletics events. Additionally, I created a waste management website for the Mount Pleasant community as well as the CMU community to educate them about how they can reduce their waste, manage their waste, and live more sustainably in this community. So I'm doing some really cool projects that are related to my major, but also related to sustainability that have given me opportunities to learn a lot more about how I can be sustainable and how I can promote sustainability to others as well. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back over to Eric. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Ava. And I'm sure you guys will be seeing a lot of Ava next year. She's such a leader within Central Sustainability and is doing so many amazing things. So really, before we open this up for Q&A, I just want to emphasize that sustainability, again, is interdisciplinary and professionally relevant. And that's why we have hired students from so many different majors and academic colleges. And really, the biggest misconception about Central Sustainability is that people think we are like just some student club, but in reality, we are 6 paid student workers who are changing the sustainability landscape in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and that is something unique. As far as I'm aware, we are the only student-led Office of Sustainability in Michigan, if not the United States, and we are collaborating with all of our partners around the state. In fact, like Michigan State's Office of Sustainability just reached out to us in February and requested that we send them our Sustainability Living Guide because it is just so good for the students in Mount Pleasant. Likewise, Aquinas just reached out to us a month ago and asked, how do we collect our waste management data and organize and educate people about that? And so we are becoming a leader in sustainability because it is student-led. Really, it's just so meaningful to me that empowered students can make such a big difference when they are paid to make that difference. And that's what Central Sustainability does for our community. So with that, I'm not quite sure who I'm supposed to pass it back to, but I'm pretty sure we're doing like Q&A now. Is that correct? All right, so I guess with that, does anyone have any questions for Ava or I, or even Dr. Liesch or Dean Ford? I would love to talk about like different projects we've worked on, even ideas for future projects. In fact, we had some students approach us last week about like constructing an outdoor classroom on campus. I mean, there's super exciting work happening all the time here. So we're open to anything.
You know, I had a question.
Please go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. With the, you mentioned the 6% in diverted trash, and that's thousands of pounds. Like, do you have is there any specific kind of like a ballpark of the specific amount of like how many pounds that would be?
Yeah, so what I do know is that each year CMU sends about 330 tons of food waste to the composting farm.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that was that baseline. But now that we're establishing these sorts of more composting programs, we're seeing that increase maybe to like 340 to even 350 tons per year of food waste going to a composting farm instead of a landfill.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
I think Vivian has a hand up. Did I see that right?
That's right. Hi, everybody. First of all, I applaud you on your efforts. I think what you're doing is really important, and it's going to really make an impact now and in the future. And I was really surprised to hear about the metric, about the audit of going through and finding how much could have been composted and recycled. Here in California, we're actually moving to composting as part of one of the bins that we put out to our curb for household food waste. And so we've been part of a pilot program in doing that. My question is, you're trying to change behaviors, build awareness, get people to be more mindful about their activities. Have you, I'd be interested to hear about what challenges you're facing. How hard is it to change hearts and minds? How hard is it to, do you see improvements, semester or year over year? And maybe these audits are better. Maybe next year it won't be 65%, but it's still, I can imagine it's a challenge. Could you talk about any of that if you have that experience?
I will pass this one to Ava in a second, but I guess my thoughts on that are that the university setting is unique because you have 20% turnover every year. So every single fall, we're working with 20% of the campus being new. And so we have to figure out how to establish that baseline for sustainability. So we always have to be adaptable and figure out what else is happening to the students who are coming to CMU within their backgrounds and their hometown communities. But for us, that really means figuring out how to meet them in the middle or from the start of their experience. So like, we're working to, actually, we are presenting at Leadership Safari this year to all of the freshmen who are coming to campus. Like their first experience at CMU is going to have sustainability integrated into it. Or like Ava mentioned, the reusable bag program. And that's, a lot of this is really in Ava's realm. She's such a PR marketing specialist, so I will hand it over.
Yeah, so something that kind of connects with that, I think kind of at the end of last semester, I was starting to realize that the followers that we have gained on Instagram and Facebook, it's really probably the people on campus that are interested in sustainability already. And like they already have an open mind to sustainability. So I think what's really important when it comes to engaging new audiences and engaging people that might not already have that sustainability mindset is these collaborations that we're doing. Like last night, we collaborated with Refugee Outreach Collective and Amnesty International on a faculty panel. And these Instagram story takeovers with the official @CM University Instagram page where we're reaching everyone who follows CMU on Instagram. So I think that's where we're really able to reach a wider audience when we're sending, sort of press releases, graphics, photos to CM Life and UCOM to share on their platforms. So taking advantage of those opportunities has definitely been beneficial. We always see increases in followers after that, like people who might say, oh, Composting Northwest, that sounds great. Let me follow this account, see what else they're up to. But something that comes with that, I have noticed, is maybe a little shift with language to make things inclusive. For example, I did a Waste Reduction Wednesday campaign, and we got University Communications to collaborate with us on this. They said they would share all these posts on their official Instagram account, which is super amazing. But they came to us and they said, hey, we want you to just change the language to make it a little more inclusive for the entire CMU community. So instead of saying, eat more plant-based foods, maybe more of a suggestion than something like that, just to make sure that it's reaching those general populations. And we are really trying to make the most out of those connections that we have. So when we're using UCOM, we want to be able to reach the most amount of people. We want to be appealing to as many people as we can be. So definitely taking advantage of that, taking advantage of any tips we have from UCOM, because they're professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to reach this audience. So yeah, definitely taking advantage of any collaborations we have, all these partnerships on these Earth Week events. I think that's a great way to reach more people. But Eric, I think you should also talk about your capstone research a little bit and how like the different departments at CMU show different amount of sustainability knowledge too.
Yeah, so my capstone research, in a way, it was designed to inform the actions of our sustainability office, Central Sustainability. And so we set out to create a survey to measure one, what influence do staff and faculty have on student sustainability knowledge? And then two, how does academic association, or like what academic college you're located in, influence your sustainability knowledge and behavior? And really what we found was some unique trends. So we find that, like, for instance, as you may expect, the College of Science and Engineering ranks really high in pro-sustainability behaviors, but we also found that the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, as well as health professions, also rank very high in sustainability behaviors. And so then we identify like these areas for more broader education, like College of Business, Arts and Media, and then Education and Human Services. But within that, we were also able to identify really specific target areas. So for instance, although the College of Health Professions ranked very high in sustainability knowledge and behavior, they ranked extremely low in specifically energy and water resource conservation behavior. And so because of this ongoing research, and I would say there is a growing amount of sustainability research on our campus, we are now able to better inform our actions and our efforts and our education. And in fact, myself and my coworker, Tiffany, who also works for Central Sustainability, we're working on a research project right now where we are assessing across the country, how do sustainability offices input or integrate diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice into their higher education sustainability websites. And so that's really unique because our sustainability office was born out of our DEI office. And now we're trying to really learn about how do other universities approach this? And is this a unique approach at CMU to integrate a lot of DEIJ education into our sustainability work? Because in reality, it is interdisciplinary and it's all related, because we cannot take care of a community if people do not feel included in it. I mean, if you don't feel like you're a part of the space around you and you don't feel included, you are much less likely to pick up the trash that's on the ground around you. And that's really the big takeaway from a lot of this research, and which is now informing the actions of our office.
Great. Thanks, Eric and Ava. Any other questions?
You maybe want to talk a bit about your visions for your office in the future.
Yeah, so this is something for me that has changed a lot over time. Like when I started this, I was like, oh my God, how does CMU not have a full-time sustainability professional? But now I am just in love with the fact that we have this distinct program where our sustainability office is led by paid student employees and 6 of them with different perspectives in different academic disciplines. And this year we've been so successful in scaling up to where we have reached a point now where we are at maximum capacity. I mean, for the first time ever this month, we are unfortunately having to turn away projects because we don't have the student hours to pursue them. And so moving forward, I envision that this office, why not 10 or why not 15 student workers from different academic disciplines? And we 100% need student workers from every single academic college on campus to better inform our perspectives and have more diverse perspectives around what we're doing. And obviously, with more students, we can take on more projects, and more students bring new ideas as well. So one of the really unique things about this paid student position is that not only do we pursue the projects that people are requesting we do, for instance, we're just about to start a purchasing audit of the entire student affairs department at CMU to see what is being sustainably purchased, but students in this position can also dictate what their work entails. For instance, our coworker Tiffany decided that the Green Teams program in the residence halls is very unorganized right now. So she is in a leadership role now where she's assembling all the sustainability advocates from the residence halls and really tackling this Green Teams issue to better inform the habits of students within our residence halls. And so I envision this having more partners, more student workers from more academic disciplines, just completely scaling up. I guess, do you have any thoughts on that, Ava?
Yeah, I completely agree with what you just said with Tiffany. Like, I love that in this office setting that we have, it is so student led that when we have an idea, when we have a vision of something we want to accomplish on campus, we can just start running and do it. And yeah, we have a lot of collaborations. A lot of people do come to us with ideas, but I mean, this campus garden, the composting at Northwest, the reusable bag initiative, like that was all born out of the minds of people right in our office. And because of the support we have received from the university and the support that we give each other as a team, we're able to accomplish so much. So yeah, I think there are big things ahead. I think especially because the office has grown so much just in the past year, there'll definitely be some setting up of, how to train the people coming in and making sure that this is not just the Office of Sustainability, but also a sustainable office that's going to live long past the current 6 of us graduate.
And I just want to jump in to echo what Eric and Ava have been sharing, in that the vision for the future for Central Sustainability, would continue and to deepen the engagements around campus, and also in the community, as Eric had talked about, community partnerships and thinking about relationships with the city and overcoming that town-gown divide that's somewhat exists in Mount Pleasant, is coming up with ideas to also help students feel at home. The concept of placemaking in a college town, that CMU as a home where people get homesick freshman year. We want people to be around, and part of that is helping people feel like this is a place that they have high quality experiences, on and off campus that way. And so that's part of the reason which last spring, Eric and Teresa had talked with Carol Moody at the Mount Pleasant Farmers Market about, hey, we don't want to steal the Mount Pleasant Farmers Market from Island Park on Thursdays or downtown on Saturdays, but is there a way that that's synergistic, that we can build upon this? So that's one of many examples of deepening engagements. There's also ways in which thinking like small undergraduate or master's student projects on sustainability research in a wide variety dimensions of environmental and economic and social sustainability could be fostered as this office scales up. And then the idea of as Eric and Ava spoke about, student projects and initiatives, even something like a micro grants program where competitively, if anyone on campus as a student has an out-of-the-box idea, or maybe it's just from my faculty perspective seems to be an out-of-the-box idea, it's how can we amplify those ideas, especially trying to be entrepreneurial, trying to be creative, things that cross disciplinary boundaries, for cases where there's where there are relatively low cost solutions that can possibly be there. A microgrants program would be great, especially with so many different dimensions of sustainability that the student team is looking at. One of the things we didn't talk about as much is there's sustainable transportation, and as you can talk of how can you have bicycle sharing on campus. Some other campuses have that where someone might bring a bike, but it might be there. That's just one of many different examples that of places where this could be scaled up, and that's why. Before I hand this back over to Eric, I'd say that if any of you join us on this call today ever in Mount Pleasant, please, the students or myself, we'd be happy to give you a tour of the Central Sustainability Office and talk about projects, and are always open to alumni ideas as well.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I agree completely. I mean, there's so many opportunities for growth, whether that be like the microgrant program, or we were even talking about like freshman sustainability fellowships, where a freshman to make them feel more at home, like Matt was saying, can come work on a project with our office and get to know the team, and hopefully be like a full like part-time student employee like the rest of us in the coming years. And so we're always open to new ideas.
Thanks to all of you. And I would just echo kind of from a college perspective that I'm a big believer in project-based learning, in science and engineering, and really in any field. And we see it at different places across the college, like with our student vehicle teams. Obviously their Baja team, Formula team, as an example, they're very successful in that pursuit, right? And then having that recognized, with external competitions and other types of things. But then that also spills back into the curriculum as well. A lot of the challenges that those teams face end up being projects in specific classes within the School of Engineering and Technology, for example. So I see central sustainability in an analogous way, right? We're planting the seed, no pun intended, in this way. But because sustainability is such a wide field, it can touch so many different aspects of the university, like has been described here today. I think you're going to see that material also trickle into the academic curriculum as well, right? So there will be new content in courses, there will be new courses, there will probably at some point be new minors or even degree programs, new research programs, and so on, that have grown and branched off of. I just can't stop with these plant types of puns here. Sorry, today they just come out. And it's a springboard to really help us, keep our academic curriculum fresh and up to date as well, with these new ideas and the passion of the students that comes through. With all that said, are there any other comments or questions that folks have?
Somebody else has a question. I keep hearing a lot about digital sustainability. Is that something that we're working on or focusing on, or that you guys can talk about at all?
So with digital, are you referring to like IT equipment, like that sort of thing?
No, just sort of. Apparently there's too much stuff out there. People pass away and Facebook accounts are left open and Instagram accounts are left open. And apparently I was reading an article about it the other day, and they were saying it's a big issue and that we need to start to focus on that as well as what we're doing for our land and for the earth and whatnot.
So I guess with that, I would say that's an opportunity for growth on campus. I mean, we know there's way too many accounts out there. In fact, there's a ton of people have accounts for their pets and that sort of thing. I have one for my cat Lily, and it's fun and all, but I don't know if there's a point at which that sort of thing is unnecessary. And so that's something we could certainly look at in the future. But when you did say like IT or just digital, that reminded me of like a current project. I just met with the CMU library and IT staff last week, who is looking to collaborate with us. And you would think that's kind of unorthodox, but really a lot of what we do is pretty unorthodox in central sustainability. So because of that meeting and ongoing partnerships, we're looking at making like the library the hub on campus for like a bike sharing program where students could walk into the library and rent a bike for a weekend or something like that. We also just started ongoing electronics collection from IT on campus, where initially that was thrown away for most of the year. Now we have a bucket right outside of our office that is picked up by Donald Long, CMU's recycling manager. So IT equipment is being sent to an official certified electronics recycler instead of just going in a landfill, which, as we all know, is very, very bad for the earth. And so we're really just trying to tackle this from all ends and mitigate environmental injustices, mitigate climate hazards, and make the student experience better.
Thanks. And I'm thinking that last bit, Eric, was along the lines of Vivian's comment that just went in the chat about, oh, maybe you didn't see it, sustainable tech hardware moving to cloud. So you just mentioned one approach to that. Are there any others that come to mind?
Yeah, so as for technology, every year as part of for the past 3 years, Central Sustainability was established. We have facilitated a 2-week-long electronics recycling drive on campus, which this year it garnered about, I believe, 12,000 pounds of electronic waste from on campus, just students, staff, faculty, classrooms, IT. That's a very impressive number. It's grown about every year. I believe last year we garnered about 10,000 pounds of electronics. The year prior, it was about 8,000. And so these are growing programs that more people are becoming aware of and more people are cognizant about. And so eventually, I'm hoping it reaches the point where people know Central Sustainability will be doing the electronics drive every year. So I'm going to save my electronics for that sort of drive. But beyond that, we are working on like the ongoing collection efforts, very similar to like the composting initiatives that our coworker Megan is working on. And so I know we touched on that for a bit, but like since 2015, composting has only been an option inside residential dining halls. But as of just about 2 months ago, now it's an option in residential spaces on campus. So if you live in an apartment, especially if you live in Northwest apartments, you have the option to take your compost to a compost bin, which will be compiled with the food waste from the dining halls and taken up to Morgan's Composting in Sears, Michigan. It's really the first thing we've ever done outside of the dining halls for composting on campus. And that's the sort of thing, coupled with the education, that explains why we're seeing these huge percentages in our waste diversion rates.
I'm also going to put the Central Sustainability website into the chat, as well as the CMISH waste website that the Central Sustainability team created. That kind of goes more into detail about CMU's waste management, as well as waste management opportunities in Mount Pleasant, the Mount Pleasant community, and other just tips and tricks for living more sustainably. So I'm going to put those in the chat for you all.
Last thing I'd want to add today from a faculty mentoring perspective is just knowing that these are high impact learning experiences where when Eric graduates soon, when Ava graduates down the road, and other students, there's a lot of experiences that when they're in their first, second, or third job out of post-graduation from CMU, as they move along with their careers and take leadership and potentially management roles, that they'll be able to draw upon some of these experiences. And so it's it's a relatively low-cost way to get those experiences for students. There's still costs to it, but this is the kind of thing where it helps frame that vision, or 5 or 10 years from now, or next year, as soon as sustainability can be scaled up, there's going to be, someday we'll be on this coffee conversation chat 5 years from now and be able to look back at hopefully newer generations of students who have graduated, who are then seeing connections between some of this learning that they're doing, seeing the university as a system, thinking of the environment, society as systems, and making those differences in their careers. And my hope as a faculty mentor is that this is transformative for people like Eric and Ava and other students and future students that we'd like to scale this up for.
Yeah, I agree completely, Matt. One thing that kind of stuck with me there, like another project that I didn't mention today, is like we're in the process of creating a high school outreach program. So for the past academic year, about the past 9 months, we've been working with about 40 students at H.H. Dow and Midland who are in their sustainability club, and we're teaching them, how is CMU approaching sustainability? And from our lens, how can you address sustainability in a high school setting? In fact, just about a month ago, my coworker Lauren and I went there and we did a waste audit right in their cafeteria. So basically, we are going through the trash and showing them what should have been composted, what should have been recycled, and creating these super interactive, engaging activities that are getting younger students excited about sustainability. And that goes back to creating that baseline for that new 20% each year. And so moving into next year, we're looking at working with hopefully 5 to 10 high schools doing the exact same thing, because several high schools have environmental or sustainability clubs. But if we can ideally provide some sort of direction or at least enthusiasm around the topic, that will ultimately make the world better, regardless of whether or not these students come to CMU. As for takeaways for me, like this, I guess working and creating and working in this office has just been the best part of my college experience, 100%. I have been able to really bridge the gap between my biology major, which is very quantitative, and then my public and nonprofit administration major, which has been extremely qualitative. And now through that, this job has taught me, how do you communicate data, and how do you compel people around a topic, and how do you innovate and create exciting things and model other programs. And there are just a billion skills that I've learned because of this that I can't summarize in 30 minutes. But it's been transformative. I've been offered several jobs and several fully funded graduate positions because of this job specifically. And I'm just so proud of the work that we're doing here. And I can't wait to see what we do in the future.
Ava, any last words?
Sure. Yeah. So like Eric said, with connecting sustainability with his majors, I feel like working for Central Sustainability has given me real world experience with public relations, and using that public relations major and the event management minor to make the world a better place and promote sustainability, promote good habits. And I really feel like Central Sustainability has given me a platform to make a difference on campus in the Mount Pleasant community. And it has definitely pushed me to feel confident that in the future, whatever profession I pursue, whatever company I end up at, I will be able to make a difference there as well. So I'm excited for Central Sustainability to continue in the years to come and provide that same experience to other students, no matter their major, no matter where they end up going, whatever profession they pursue.
Fantastic. So being mindful of everybody's time, we'll just kind of maybe wrap up here. And I'd like to thank Matt and Ava and Eric, not only for being here today and sharing this with us, but for all the work that they've done to bring Central Sustainability to where it is, positioning it for that fantastic future. And I'm just so delighted to hear that your experiences with this have been, the highlight of your career, and something that's given, extra meaning, to your time here at CMU. These are the things the faculty and administration work for, to make things, to provide opportunities like this and to make it happen. And so thanks for the impact you're having. I'm glad to hear it's having an impact on your lives as well. And then I'd also just like to give a shout out to Becky and the team, Morgan and Joe, who are also on here, for helping to organize this coffee and virtual coffee, and really appreciate it. And again, thanks to all of our guests for your time, your engagement, and please reach out anytime. Type my email. Many of you know me anyway. Type my email into the chat, so feel free to email me anytime. Any of these folks, we're pretty easily findable. Reach out, let us know if you're coming to town, let us know if you'd like to learn a little bit more, talk a little bit more in depth, let us know if you'd like to get involved with some of the projects that are going on, or have some other ideas that you'd like to share with the team. We'd really like to hear from you. Becky, any last bits that we need to address before we go?
No, I wrote a little note in here and just thanked everybody. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our participants. If anybody would like a copy of the recording, you can email us and let us know. I will put my email in here, and we are happy to allow you to pass it on to anyone who you think might be interested in learning more about this amazing project. And with that, we will give you back 2 minutes of your day. Have a great day. And thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.